Wow.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the June 18th, 2025 Rockingham County Board of Commissioners meeting. I'd like ask everyone to rise to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Godu, would you like to lead us today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So in the room today, we have myself, Commissioner Coyle. We also have Commissioner Tombrello and Commissioner Godu. Also in the room is Allison Kivakowski, Chantel Conan, Chuck Nickerson, Jude Gates, and Layla Matilla. I see in Zoom land, we have Kathy Stacy, Jason Henry, and a phone number. It's the TV so much better, but my eyesight is not the best. So three. Thank you. Would that individual care to identify themselves?
Yeah. Yes, my name is Jill Center.
Jill Center.
Center.
Thank you.
From Plasto.
From Plasto.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us today and for identifying yourself. Okay. Seeing attendance, we'll move on to openings and awards. We have a opening for contracted prosecution services.
I'll make a motion to authorize the high sheriff to review, evaluate the proposal and confirm the recommendation.
Second.
Any discussion? On the motion, Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu.
Yeah.
And I vote yes. Next, we have the consent agenda and begin with the May 29th meeting minutes.
A motion to approve the May 29, 2025 public and non-public minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? On the motion, Commissioner Godu.
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next, we have a adult medical daycare payout report.
Looks like we're right on budget.
It was actually, it seemed like last month a little lower than usual, and I don't know what that was attributed to. But it was significantly lower than we've seen in other months, but still on track. We'll see where things shake out, and it looks like we'll be putting money back because at the end of May, we're only like 70% expended, and we have just one more month on the budget.
Yep.
Next, we have the June 25th, 25 payroll.
I will make a motion to approve the payroll expense in the amount of $1,505,605.35 for the period ending June 14th, 2025.
Second.
Oh, go on.
Is that the right number?
The payroll on
Sorry.
1,505. Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
you were correct.
It was very close to the prior one. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
remember I'm
Only off by
remembering
a
the
few
prior
hundred
one.
bucks.
Sorry.
Yes, okay.
That's a
And-
good thing.
Oh,
No, it's
any discussion? Well, it's good news because it does mean we're consistent, so. Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next, we have commissioners' updates. Does anybody have anything they wish to discuss today?
I've got a couple of things I'll bring up on the new business, but I could bring them up now.
Sure.
Uh,
However you want to do it is fine.
no, I'll bring it up under new business. Good. 3.
You can keep us in suspense. Do you have anything, Commissioner?
No.
Tombrello? Okay, so next we have the discussion about the right to know request policy. We were operating with the start of the Sheriff's Department policy with respect to 91A requests and right to know requests. I thought the changes that Primex submitted were very helpful, and I do think we need to look because the statute did just recently change with respect to fees for electronic records. And I believe, and I looked at it before, but it's not off the top of my head, but I don't think you can charge per the statute a per page fee for an electronic record. So
I thought, didn't we come up with just a fee for the
Yeah, for the USB.
USB?
And that's consistent with, the statutory, restrictions
Yeah.
on those fees. So I think we need to be, we certainly don't want to get sued because we're making it cost prohibitive. And I think it's something, I don't know, the sheriff's department isn't here, but I do think it's something they have to look at too, because they have a per page fee, even if it's an electronic record. And I think that's problematic.
I was looking at the same thing, and I'd like to know what the new guidance is, and I agree that we should, our policy should reflect whatever the new guidance is.
Well, we should, now that we know that, yeah, we need to make sure the sheriff, I guess I would respectfully ask, once we develop our policy, if it becomes a countywide that, and we're working off of what is originally the sheriff's department policy, that they would adopt the Primex, the same, and the Primex recommendations, because these Primex recommendations are ones, I mean, some of it is,
It's just wording. I don't think that there was any change to the meaning, the
Yeah.
intent.
yes, a lot of it is wordsmithing, but it's, you know, it is important. Shall is an important word,
Right.
and so in legal speak, and so these are some of the things that I'm sure the sheriff's department will be open to it in light of the fact that we're getting a legal opinion on it, and then we can implement something countywide. So
I think it should be our county
policy,
policy.
Yeah.
The sheriff needs to have something different. We can discuss that, but
but I don't think as a.
that might be up to them. As of now, we're gonna just do our policy for the 91A, and I think that the policy, we need to change the wording on the we have a document that's been created cleanly. We need to substitute sheriff with County of Rockingham at each place, and then add in whatever the electronic file charge that we think that we want to charge. And then that be the document. Maybe that needs, I don't know if it needs further review. I mean, it's gone to Primex, which is great. I don't know if Attorney Bedard ought to take a quick look at it to make sure that there's nothing on there that he, I think this needs to be vetted properly so that we don't, so that we know what we're doing, we know how we're gonna behave, and we know that we're in the right legal situation.
Statute says no charge may be incurred for the first 250 electronic communication, so,
They told us that at the convention, the lawyer that we saw from,
so,
what was the the New
Right.
Hampshire Municipal Association.
so the policy is,
I wanna copy the law, whatever the law is. There's no, I mean, like, to me, there's no discussion. It's
right,
whatever the law says, that's what we're gonna follow.
actually, and
We
don't,
we don't. have to-
no, but in the don't reinvent the wheel, probably the
Well-
best thing would be to just take the language from the statute and directly input it into the fee schedule, and then you're like, we can't get in trouble.
Right,
It's like,
agreed.
okay, so we'll make some of those changes. Maybe we can come back and, put
The
that,
final review,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I like the idea of sending it to,
Of what?
up what?
the way you wanna send it to, make sure he looks at it, just to make sure, but
Yeah, I think one more attorney, our attorney, either Bedard or she and
Great,
Finney, either one, whoever's the best on 91A, just say, okay, here's our policy, what do you think?
I agree.
Just-
I think what we can do is I agree, we can get put together the final draft with those changes that we know how to make. And then it's an easy clean.
Yeah.
We've had 2 legal reviews.
Hang our hat on it.
Yes, certainly.
Okay,
long
good.
awaited, Boston case, just go there if anybody wants to know. Anybody interested? No?
What? Oh, wait, Commissioner Tom Morello has a new commissioner update.
Not guilty on all 3 charges, guilty on only one.
Okay,
All right, glad we cleared that up.
you.
We'll go forward. It's not me. It's not me.
Okay, we're gonna move on to Department of Corrections. We have an inmate administrative transfer, and I see Superintendent Henry here, but this is mostly pro forma.
Yeah, motion to approve 2 remain administrative transfers pursuant to the New Hampshire RSA 30:30-B:21 dated June 13th, 2025 and June 17th, 2025, transferring two inmates to Hillsborough County as recommended by the superintendent.
Second,
Any discussion? On the motion, Commissioner Godu?
yes,
Commissioner Tombrello?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next, we have a bid waiver. We're moving on to the finance office. We have a bid waiver request and engagement letter for auditing services.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid waiver request in the amount of $51,250 for Vashon Cloquet and Company PC for professional auditing services as recommended by the Senior Director of Finance.
second.
Discussion?
Oh.
No.
Is this, we had somebody drop out, right?
Yes, and their fees would have been like $60,000 or more. I asked for some better communication, only came by email. But yeah, so the current audit firm, CBiz, which used to be Markham LP, which used to be Melanson, they did back out. They're just not able to staff the engagements on governmental services.
So these guys have plenty of bandwidth?
Yes, and Matt Murray, the partner, one of the partners there at Vashon Cloquet mentioned that they had some time right away in July, in addition to doing some of the, what was gonna be prelim work for 2025 might now be, just work on 2024 at the end of next week.
Okay. Good with me?
This one. On the motion, Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have the second motion relative to the same issue.
Motion to approve the Vashon Cloquet and Company PC engagement letter for professional auditing services and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents as recommended by the Senior Director of Finance.
Second,
Discussion? Hearing none. Commissioner Godu?
yes.
Commissioner Tombrello?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
So we have the thank you. TV equipment finance capital lease agreement, but first we need to read the resolution.
It's the
It's-
last page of the
the-
agenda.
Oh, great.
You're really.
Do you want me to?
Really-
I'm sorry, this is the one that TD requires, I'm sorry.
I wanted to draw.
This whole thing you gotta
I
read?
got it. Lessee resolution, Exhibit A, a resolution of the County of Rockingham, New Hampshire, authorizing the execution and delivery of a lease purchase agreement with respect to the acquisition, purchase, financing, and leasing of certain equipment, authorizing the execution and delivery of documents required in connection therewith, and authorizing all other actions necessary to the consummation of the transactions contemplated by this resolution. Whereas County of Rockingham, New Hampshire, a body political and corporate duly organized and existing as a political subdivision of the County of Rockingham, New Hampshire, lessee is authorized by the laws of the state of New Hampshire to purchase, acquire, and lease personal property for the benefit of the lessee and to enter into contracts with respect thereto. And whereas lessee desires to purchase, acquire, finance, and lease certain equipment with a cost not to exceed $1,147,649, constituting personal property necessary for lessee to perform essential governmental functions, the equipment. And whereas lessee proposes to enter into the certain lease purchase agreement, the agreement with TD Equipment Finance Incorporated lessor, the form of which has been available for review by the governing body of the lessee prior to this meeting. And whereas the equipment is essential for lessee to perform its governmental functions, and whereas the lessee has taken the necessary steps, including those relating to any applicable legal bidding requirements to arrange for the acquisition of the equipment. And whereas the governing body of the lessee deems it for the benefit of the lessee and for the efficient and effective administration thereof to enter into the agreement and of any other documentation necessary, convenient, or appropriate for the purposes of financing the equipment on the terms and conditions described therein. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the lessee is hereby authorized to execute and deliver the agreement with principal components of rental payments in an aggregate amount not to exceed $147,649. Be it further resolved that the agreement and the acquisition and financing of the equipment under the terms and conditions as described in the agreement are hereby approved. The chair board of commissioners of lessee and any other officer of lessee with the power to execute contracts on behalf of lessee be and each of them hereby is authorized to execute, acknowledge, and deliver the agreement and any and all instruments, documents, and certificates which may be required by or provided for in the agreement, and as it may otherwise be required or necessary, convenient, or appropriate to the financing described in the resolution, together with any changes, insertions, and omissions therein as may be approved by the officers who execute the agreement, be conclusively evidenced by the execution and delivery of the agreement. Chair Board of Commissioners of Blessey and any other officer of Blessey with the power to do so be, and each of them hereby is authorized to affix the official seal of Blessey to the agreement and attest to the same. Be it further resolved that the proper officers of Blessey be, and each of them hereby is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all papers, instruments, opinions, certificates, affidavits, and any other documents to do so or cause to be done in any and all other acts and things necessary or proper for the carrying out of the resolution in the agreement. Bank qualified only, be it further resolved that pursuant to section 265B of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended by the code, Blessey hereby specifically designates the agreement as a qualified tax exempt obligation for the purposes of section 265B3 of the code. Be it further resolved that nothing contained in this resolution, the agreement, nor any other instrument shall be construed with respect to lessee as incurring a pecuniary liability or charge upon the general credit of lessee or against its taxing powers, nor shall the breach of any agreement contained in this resolution, the agreement or any other instrument or document executed in connection therewith impose any pecuniary liability upon lessee or any charge upon its general credit or against its taxing power, except to the extent that the rental payments payable under the agreement, especially limited obligations of lessee as provided in the agreement. Be it further resolved that in the section, paragraph, clause, or provision of the resolution shall for any reason be held to be an invalid or unenforceable, the invalidity or unenforceability of the section, paragraph, clause, or provision should not affect any of the remaining provisions of this resolution. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately, adopted and approved by the governing body of the lessee this 26th. Are we doing 26 or?
That's closing, that's the closing date.
Okay, the 26th day of June, 2025, County of Rockland.
Excellent.
Wow.
You ever notice so when you hire a lawyer for $500 an hour on the phone, they said, so how's the kids? How's it? They don't talk that quick.
I have
How's your
noticed
car
that.
running?
Yeah.
Motion.
I'll make a motion. Let you relax, right? Motion to approve a 3-year capital lease agreement dated June 30th, 2025 with TD Equipment Finance, Inc. at an interest rate of 4.440% with payments in advance, and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents as recommended by the Senior Director of Finance.
Second.
Discussion. This is for all we're talking about is the factor equipment, so. All right,
A lot of work.
yeah. On the motion, Commissioner Tomarilla,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Harvey Construction off-cycle AP warrant approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 18th, 2025 accounts payable warrant T 251322 payable to Harvey Construction Corporation, the amount of $2,182,625.09 as recommended by the Senior Director of Facility Planning and IT and the Senior Director of Finance.
Discussion.
Well, I have to say that I'm thrilled that we got all of the receipts on this warrant, and I'm happy to be voting in favor of it. Just a note that we're buying coffee for the construction workers. I didn't know that was part of the reimbursement expense, and I'm not going to complain about it, except to, note that it was something that is on the part of the expenses from, I think it's WB Mason. In any event, I'm happy that we're doing this the right way, and I'm gonna vote in favor of it.
Okay. Well, then, on what,
I think it's 825, not 625. I apologize.
it says
Okay.
may-
He said, I thought Tom said 625.
825 only.
okay.
Sorry.
So to clarify, the warrant amount is for $2,182,825.09. But thanks. Okay, on the clarified motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Tombrello, and I vote yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Let me know when you sign that, 'cause I'd like to take a picture.
There it is. First one I signed.
All right,
moving on to write-offs for assisted living.
I'll make a motion that Rockingham County approve the write-offs for assisted living for fiscal year 2025 totaling $103,659.27 as recommended by the Senior Director of Finance and the Senior Director of Long-Term Care.
Second.
Any discussion? We had a detailed analysis of the write-offs, and most of them were in circumstances where people were transitioning from the private pay to Medicaid. So in that time, sometimes there's that overlap of there's some, like, wow, that Medicaid comes in, and so in light of that.
And due to that process, they're moving to Medicaid, they've pretty much run out of money.
Right.
So, you know,
There's no one
there's,
paying- Yeah, so that, I mean, almost exclusively, those were the issues.
And all of, if I may, all of them are from residents that are no longer with us. They're older. It's just for our RCM process to be able to clean up the systems. And we have been almost finalized. We keep making little tweaks to change some of our systems so that we can support the assisted living where currently we don't, where our Medicaid specialist will be able to start assisting our assisted living residents and changing some of our processes to proactively get into the assisting them as well.
Great.
So those are already kind of started and working through as we build that out.
And I know you've worked really hard to sort of to address some of the billing and some of the processes so that we hopefully will have fewer of these write-offs in the future. So,
Unfortunately, there'll always be some.
yeah,
Medicaid and timing and getting documentations and unfortunately people passing, but hopefully it'll mitigate a lot of it.
it's great. Okay. On the motion, I think Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu.
yes,
And I vote.
Thank you.
We have the fiscal year 2026 benefits related payments.
I'll make a motion to authorize the finance office to process payments for fiscal year 2026 benefits related items, including but not limited to medical and dental claims, third-party administrative fees, various benefit premiums, stop loss fees, and workers' compensation claims.
second,
Do we do this every year?
Every year,
Remember?
yeah, because there's certain due dates
Yeah.
that things have to be processed and they may not line up with the bi-weekly AP POC meeting, so.
Great. On the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have a grant application for conservation for license plate grant.
I'll make a motion to authorize the finance office to apply for grant funding from the 2025-2026 Conservation License Plan Grant Program for an amount not to exceed $10,000 and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents as recommended by the Senior Director of Finance.
second,
Discussion. This is preservation of the historic records. We have used Kofax. Was that the Kofax, I think?
Profile.
File. Yeah, and we use them for preservation of our deeds records too. So they do a nice job. They do a nice job over there every year. And I hope we can get the grant because it is really cool to preserve these records. So, let's see, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have the LNA Apprentice Program funding increase under Human Resources.
I'll make a motion to approve an increase in funding for the LNA Apprentice Program to cover the new cost of $2,750 per student in alignment with the new tuition rate set by our educational partner.
second,
Discussion? This is
it's a small increase,
$150 increase. Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu.
yes,
And I vote yes. Next, we have utilization of Cigna Wellness Funds approval.
Motion to approve utilizing $4,395 from the fiscal year 2025 Cigna Wellness fund to purchase equipment for the Employee Fitness Center as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
second,
Discussion? How much left do we have in the use it or lose it fund?
Well, we're at a discrepancy right now. We are saying we have more money and they're saying we have less. And it's
Sure.
being audited. In worst case, I'm gonna request through Gallagher that they transfer that money over into the FY 26 amount, because we have $25,000. We're working off the sheet that they gave us in the beginning, and somewhere around, it's about $4,000 off that I think we should have access to.
that's quite a bit.
It is, so I am a challenger on that, so, it happened to us last year and we found it and they ended up agreeing to move it over to this balance, so I'm gonna ask them. So, yeah, but I do have one more piece of equipment. It's $6,000. We knew this equipment was a little over $6,000, but it's a warranty piece of equipment, so I don't want to purchase it yet because the room isn't ready. So I would try to do it in the next cycle right off, and it would be nice if I could move those funds over and allocate it towards this.
So can you talk, the one thing I didn't see in the support is what the equipment is you're actually buying, which is sort of.
It's an equipment that we had started, that we brought before the board. It is, that fitness gym, I don't
Is
know.
it like the TRX thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those types
Oh,
of things.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all of that, with the exception of this one piece, which is a stationary piece. The other piece that we have on file, it is under warranty because it runs off of, electricity and stuff. It's, I don't know what the piece is, I'm sorry. But it's Sheriff Abel, who is a certified instructor. He's the one that had worked with, I think he mentioned Jude and, kind of the staff there about what kind of equipment we need.
Tons of experience, yeah.
Right, so it's still open to everybody, but it'll be a little bit different than what you see over here in our thing. So I think it'll be a nice balance for people
Nice.
that want to have a change of what they want to do.
I think the sheriff and DOC both feel like they can use it for their required training as
Right.
well, certification, so
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
think that
good.
sort of informed some of Deputy Abel's
Decision to
recommendation,
purchase
yeah.
it, Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So if it has a dual function of some certificate.
Yeah, amazing. He worked for the Patriots at some point, I think, like he knows his stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What a great resource.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Okay.
That should be great.
Does anybody else?
Nope.
Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Commissioner Tombrilla? And I vote yes. Next, we have a revision to the personnel policies and procedures regarding travel and training.
Make a motion to approve the revisions to the travel reimbursement policy, PPP 16-14, and recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources and the Senior Director of Finance.
Second,
Discussion?
this is a small increase for COLA, right?
This
Wow.
one's related to the language, I thought, for lunch. The next one is related to the,
Oh, the
the
other.
financial. This is like whether lunch is provided on both the front end or back end.
Yeah.
It was just a clarification. On the motion, Commissioner Tombrilla.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The next is, here you go, you were just ahead of your time, Commissioner Godu. We're up to, the travel.
I know, I read it.
Okay, moving on to the travel and training meal allowance.
Make a motion to approve the total conference cost threshold for attendee for the board approval to be increased to $1,182.50 per attendee. Further, to set a daily meal cost limit, including reasonable tip amounts of $93 for overnight conferences, $46.50 for the last day involvement, AFL regardless of what time the employee returns, and $37.60 for the single day conferences and trainings where the lunch meal is not provided by the organization that is hosting and providing the conference of training effective July 1st, 2025, as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources and Senior Director of Finance.
Second,
Discussion?
nope.
Okay, seems pretty straightforward. Let's see,
It's pretty simple, isn't it?
on the motion, Commissioner Tombrilla, Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
All right, well, we're flying through, but our time will probably be consumed in non-publics, but we're gonna move.
Can't tell us here.
It's not your fault. We're moving on to department head updates. And I guess I'll start over in Zoom land. Superintendent Henry?
Afternoon, everybody. 140 in-house. Not much else to report except for the past 2 days and one more day, past 3 days. We've been doing the corporal testing with about 16 candidates. So that's going really well. Excited to see who comes out on the top. We have like 3 openings. And beyond that, all else is going well. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Kathy Stacy?
Good afternoon. Not too much to report. All's going well over here. We've been busy as usual and a lot of big stamps, so we're pretty pleased. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, coming into the Commissioners Conference Room, Chuck.
Obviously busy with budget, so looking forward to tonight, as far as passage of the budget. And with the executive committee meeting tonight, 5:30, we do have 10 transfers up for approval. The executive committee does have two other motions, one of which is concerning the cemetery plot. Because they would need to approve that too, so normally the process is executive committee approves any motions for the overall county convention to consider. And so hopefully, I know that they'll be addressing it. I think Cheryl's waiting to get word from Representative Weiler as delegation chair, for them to take it up at the convention meeting. So just looking forward to tonight, and obviously busy with payroll grants and all manner of things. So
Great, thank you.
Good afternoon. All is well in facilities. We are really busy as well. We had a nice meeting this morning with building oversight. It was well attended. They reviewed a lot of the financials. They were very well pleased. Chuck came over, Dove from Harvey came in, answered questions and gave a little presentation, and they did it once. He did it once before about a year ago, and I think the reps really enjoyed it, so they asked him to come back and do it again. We will probably have one more final meeting, walk through the building when it's done kind of thing. So it was a nice visit altogether. They're working on the contract, they're working on getting ready to start water main and the sidewalk and driveway improvements. We should see mobilization in about 3 weeks. I'll be sitting down with them soon to figure out traffic patterns, what's gonna be interrupted, what can't be interrupted and so on. I think they're pretty clear on what our operations are, but I want to get it nailed down so I can let everybody know. They will be putting up guardrails on our side of the street, on the facility side of the street. They're gonna end up closing off that driveway anyway. It's not gonna stop finance from using their parking spaces, but I think they wanna kind of reserve the real estate so they can start getting the work done there. So that'll be exciting. It's a huge part of the,
It's really
it's exciting.
exciting.
Yeah, we're really pleased to be getting it done.
I just can't believe we're getting,
Yeah,
you know.
that was another ARPA,
Yeah.
manna from heaven. We're
It's
so
great.
excited about
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
Really,
absolutely.
the one thing our time here is like, we're just thanks to everyone, setting up the future, setting up for the future. And
Very
that's a
much.
big deal when you think about what are getting.
Legacy.
Well, yeah, not really as much a legacy, but trying to put the future, the county in a better place than,
Right.
or in a
Right.
good place. And thank you for all
Yeah.
the projects. And infrastructure is huge.
It's good stuff. So we did get a conditional approval permit for the diesel tanks on the emergency generators. So there's only one more step left. There's one more piece that needs to be installed. They'll come out and do an inspection and we'll be able to put fuel in them and run our emergency generators, load test the building. They're working on a cellular solution so that the fire alarm system can be monitored 24/7. That will allow us to run air conditioning equipment, so we don't have, bad heat load in the building, stuff like that. So there's lots of stuff happening over there all at the same time. It's all good, but it's like breakneck
It's a
speed. in
lot.
some
Yeah,
cases, yeah.
exactly.
Aside from the building, we are working on a replacement compressor for C block at the jail. The compressor died. Fortunately, the block is empty right now, so we've contracted with the guy that did the HVAC nursing home and jail project. The cost of the compressor was just under 10 grand, so we assured purchase order, we had funding. He said 45 days out to replace it with the same kind of compressor, so hopefully that'll be back up and running within a couple of weeks, I'm hoping. Some roofing work is being done on the facilities building, just warranty work, inspection and fixing some stuff. Some roofing work here, some roofing work down at the jail. We have a big flooring project that's about to start down at the jail, epoxy.
With
I
the new
think-
building and all the the final floor, it's these projects for the epoxy is so challenging. It's gonna be so
Oh, yeah.
nice when you can just pop them in and pop them out.
Oh, yeah. The LVT is great too, because we're getting away from VCT, so we're not worried about what we're sending up to the wastewater, no more wax, no more stripper,
Yeah.
it's all good. So,
Sorry,
that's all
didn't
I
mean
have
to interrupt
today,
you.
thank you, no, not at all, that's all I have, thank
Thank
you.
you. Chantel.
Good afternoon. Our census for the nursing home is 137. Obviously, assisted living, we are at 47. In regards to outbreak, we do have one staff member who has tested positive for COVID. However, they have not been in the building during that time frame. So though we still track it, it doesn't, from an implication standpoint, there's no exposure. Which is why we're not contemplating masks at the moment. And I know, kind of blessings, right? And then we've just been very busy with kind of year-end project, trying to get our policies up and running, different pieces. And we actually have, it should be exiting right about now, our compliance company doing our Med-A audit. So JJ or Jen in admission, MDS is kind of been the trailblazer for that.
No.
And just more kudos to her and her team, because yesterday, the woman that did the audit was talking about last year and the growth since JJ kind of took over that position. And how typically, if this audit was anything like last year, for Med-A, that it would be more around best practices opposed to items. There may be a few small things, but she was impressed with even some of the work that MVS has been doing around that. So very exciting.
Yeah.
So we'll get those results soon and hope that it stayed as glowing in the last 3 hours since I talked to them. So.
Well, I do think that JJ has been like, she just has done so much work around this that was sort of.
Yeah, go around the Med B, kind of
And
took
A.
on that one and helped us get that one compliant. Med-A, she's kind of had under her umbrella with GG reimbursement and different pieces. She's been doing a lot around streamlining, accuracy, efficiency for the LNAs and documentation for us to capture the care that we're doing from a reimbursement level.
Yeah.
Which means more revenue, for something
Revenue.
we're
When
already
you're
doing.
talking about revenue.
Go.
like,
Yeah.
uh,
So she's been, she's truly been doing a lot, and it's amazing how much she gets done. She's a big ball of energy, so it's always a good fresh breath of fresh air. But
Nice.
so, as soon as I get those results, I will happily share them. And that's it for me today. Well, so far.
Allison?
Hi,
Sure.
the personnel change forms are being rolled out. Some have been delivered and a bunch of folks will get theirs tonight, right after this meeting. So that's a good thing. The deadline to get those in, I believe, is July 2nd or 7th, and I apologize for that. Team set the date because they're gonna have to do all the data entry. And the employee fitness gym in-house here is no longer limited in capacity and doesn't require sign-in, so more than 2 people can go in there and enjoy that. We are just doing some of our audits into the Cigna, Delta Denza for all those changes. Those have to be, sent over to the carriers, and we're beginning those audits of those to make sure everybody's accounted for and everything's going over in that. And then I leave with Chuck is going along too. The conference on Sunday, we leave to go to Portland, Oregon for the PLRA conference that we're really looking forward to. It'll be really helpful. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Allison. All right, we're cranking through. Leila, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, thank
Great.
you. So now that the fiscal year is winding down, I just.
Does anyone want to take a wager on who's gonna be done first?
Well,
Yeah.
You just get ready to hit the button.
It's like she stays up late on June 3rd. July 1st at 12:01.
When do you want that deadline in, Leila?
The end of August.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But just because the deadline is August, the end of August, doesn't mean you're. Anyway, so, thank you. Anything else? Thank you. Yes. Okay, we can move right on to new business, old business, and with bated breath.
It's not that big a deal. I'd like to entertain a discussion on our move. We've got 3 departments that are moving four kinda, but three more significant. Kathy Stacy's department has a lot of heavy pieces. The county attorney office, I think is kind of standard, but we're not expecting the attorneys to be moving all of their files and such, and the sheriff's office is gonna have a lot of equipment, dispatch and stuff. So
Hello?
Yeah, I let them know, just stay on because I let them know that they had frozen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We had a technical glitch, probably from all the incoming thunderstorms and heat, but anyway, we were just having a discussion. The start of the discussion, we hadn't advanced it very particularly far, is just thinking about costs and process for moving.
right, so do we have a budget for this and how much is it? And who are the vendors that are going to be the strong people to pick things up and put them down?
We don't have a final budget yet. And we've not yet chosen a vendor. We know we hope to be moving in October. Obviously, we'll probably have to go out to RFP. The sheriff's department's furnishings, like the dispatcher, you guys process that grant. That is scheduled to be delivered at the end of July by the vendor from whom we purchased it. So those
For
five,
the dispatch stuff?
yes,
Yeah.
that stuff will go in.
Yeah.
Sheriff and Sarah is already collecting boxes and boxing stuff, but he asked me about it last week.
Oh,
Okay.
So, we haven't dialed in a date yet. And so, we haven't, Chuck and I, we've talked about it, but we haven't gone very far with it as yet.
Well, I'm just concerned that we have adequate money to make the move. And that the items that need to be moved have been at least glanced at and see what difficulties may or may not, shouldn't we be thinking about moving now?
We've
You
already,
know?
yeah, Chuck and I talked about it just this week. I'm gonna be asking the departments for an inventory of what they're bringing and what they're leaving behind, because in some cases, I don't think most of Kathy's stuff, respectfully, Kathy, is hugely valuable because she moved that from the old courthouse. Some of that stuff, it's like old
I
metal
mean, the
desks.
furniture,
Yes.
right?
County attorney, some of their furniture may be recyclable, upcyclable. I think Cheryl Hurley has asked if there's any conference chairs that she can use. So the plan is to get an inventory from the departments first. What are you moving? What are you keeping? All of their furniture is gonna be new, brand new. Except for Kathy's bringing her office furniture with her personal office, her own office, the registrar's office. Everything else, all the furniture will be new. So a lot of it'll be moving with their files. Kathy's stuff obviously is a special case. But it's not like we're picking up their offices and moving.
Okay, fair enough. I just want to make sure
We're absolutely.
we're on top of
thinking
it.
about
We have a
Commissioner.
plan.
Yes, sir.
Are we thinking October?
Yes. Most
Okay.
likely, we're thinking October. Because that $1.5 million we need for IT, we won't be able to start spending that until July 1st. And lead time is about 6 weeks on most of it. So that'll take us to mid-August, probably a month for that to be installed at the least. The furnishings are supposed to start coming in on end of July. That's a 6-week lead time. The plantings won't be in. We don't want them paving the parking lot until after all of that heavy truck movement and back and forth. We don't want them to pave in July. It'll be hot. The pavement will be
soft.
vulnerable, yes. So the plan is to probably pave late in August. So we're kind of targeting October with everyone that we've been talking about. It's not a hard date, but as you know, we've been held up a lot with permitting and et cetera. So we haven't really been able to pull the trigger on a lot of items. We won't even have a conditional fire department occupancy, even just for the furnishings, until after we get the tank going. The tanks filled and the e-generators running. The
Okay.
pump for the well number 4 is scheduled to be delivered late in August. It's been on order for many, many weeks. So it won't be here until August.
Department heads should not, we shouldn't plan on everybody being moved in till the end of October. Is that
In October is what I'm telling
sometime
everyone
during
right now. I
October?
think that's realistic, yes.
Okay,
Which is not, I mean, that's.
It's,
like
it's a
right
nice
on-
month to move.
Yeah,
won't
it
be too
is.
hot, yeah.
Great.
yeah, I have no
Right on
complaints. I just
Thank
want to
you.
make sure we're
That's what
Thinking
we're
on
about
top of
doing.
it. I
Yeah.
hadn't, I'm concerned Kathy has mentioned that there are a lot of really heavy
Really, really
items.
heavy.
And I just, you know, it might be worthwhile get somebody over there a little bit
Yep.
earlier, just to, in case there's something unusual. I
Sure.
mean, I don't know if we need a rigger to do it, maybe not, but if they're really heavy, that might be something that we need to check the elevator, make sure it can handle the size and the weight.
Had to be done. We actually had to have structural steel work done to manage the weight of Kathy's stuff. So it's been anticipated, but we do need to dial in the move for sure.
Okay, great, thank you.
you.
Jason.
Does Jason,
Let us in, or is that the mouth?
Jason, do you have your, I think it's just the mouth. Okay. Excellent. Do you have
Okay.
any other new business?
That's it.
That was it, we waited that long.
Yeah, I know. The anticipation was the best part.
Thank you for that. Okay, then without, do you have anything else? Rob? Okay, we'll move right into, next week have public comments. And,
They're like.
Ms. Center,
Yes.
it's time for public comment and I assume that you're attending the meeting to speak. So, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I want to apologize for not doing Zoom, but apparently my computer's too old. So I had to use my cell phone. My name is Jill Taylor Center. I'm a resident of Plastow, but all my ancestors are from Brentwood. And I know you discussed the Taylor issue last week, but I wanted to know where your feelings are and whether I can somehow convince you that the Taylor family should be recognized for its contributions to the county farm over the last 100 years.
Well, June.
Mr. Center, I'd just like to, I know we spoke on the phone and that, you're looking for some recognition for the Taylor family. And, we've done some research on the transfers of property. And we're not seeing a donation of land. Currently, we haven't found any donation of land, except for the ones that have previously been recognized, which was the Hilton, which didn't have anything to do with Taylor family, I don't think. And then the Dr. Blaisdell, which he was, there was donation in his name, and of course, we've named the wing in his name. And I think that we would be happy to consider this, but we need to have some evidence of what it is that we're recognizing and, you know, for what purpose. And we don't see anything right at them. We only see sales.
And I think the other thing.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, I was going to say, I wasn't clear about the 1900s when it would be my great-grandfather, Fred Kirk, whether he gave or sold some of the land to the original county farm when it came to Portsmouth to Brentwood in the early 1900s. But as you said, his son, Herb Taylor, gave land in memory of Dr. Blaisdell. But in the I don't know whether it was 69 or 70, the county took the Taylor farm for eminent domain to build an addition onto the nursing home. And then to add insult to injury, the town of Brentwood burnt the house down while Herb was living at the end of the street. But my point is that the Taylors gave land in the 50s in memory of Dr. Blaisdell, and that you did dedicate a wing to him. But then in the 70s, you took the rest of the Taylor land, and you didn't even need to take the house and farm because the cellar hole to the house is still there today you never even built on where you took the farm. You have the driveway goes right up to the Taylor cellar hole, but you never used it. You could have let him have his house and barn, and you took that too. And I just think that the Taylors are a long-standing family in Brentwood. They came in the 1700s. The house was over 100 years old when you burnt it. And I just think you recognize all kinds of people, but it seems like even a plaque to just recognize the contributions the Taylors have made, whether by donating in memory of Dr. Blaisdell or the fact that you took the Taylor farm, should be enough right there that, you know, they had to give up their farm so you could build the nursing home, and then you never even used where the house stood.
Okay, Ms. Center, I'd just like to point out that our Register of Deeds, Kathy Stacy, has done some extensive research on these deeds, and we find no evidence of a taking by eminent domain. And I'm sure if you haven't been forwarded all of this documentation, I'm sure you'd be interested in it. And I really would like Kathy Stacy to
Have the floor
and explain to you what she's done.
Yeah, so I have done my research to way back when, to your probably your great grandfather anyway. You know, obviously the property, when Fred K passed away, all the children deeded the property to Cora, his wife. She in turn deeded all the property to Fred H, which would be Henry, and then Fred Henry deeded it to himself and Bonnie Bell.
No, it's Fred Herbert. It's Fred Herbert.
Fred H. I just said H. So the thing,
but it's not Henry, it's Herbert.
I'm sorry. So Fred H. Anyway, so Fred H. is the one who there's no 1950 deed. There's no taking by the county because it would have to be recorded here. There's no taking. In 1970,
not 1950.
In 1971, he deeded property to the county. Also, at the same time, several other people deeded property to the county, which was property that he had been sold to these people. And that would be, let me tell you who it would be. It would be Mayo, the Cops. They all had property that came out of Taylor Farm that they deeded to the county. So, and that was stuff that was sold to them. There is nothing in the history of my office that, and other than that, I can say that when I'm going down the history of the property, which by the way, Taylor still owned property next to the nursing home. The family members still own property because it went to court. And that's in the last few years. It went to court and it was, there was a court order giving it to all of them. It's property that's Brentwood and Epic, as well as over in Dover. And the little house that's right before the county was also Taylor property that was deeded to Mr. Fowler. So, I mean, I'm looking at all the deeds that make up the county farm, and I have a list of every single one of them. And there's only one that was deeded, and it was from Henry, from Fred to the county in 1971. All the other deeds are accounted for, whether it's from VZ, whether it's from Sleeper, Cop, Mayo, the town of Brentwood. All of these make up, and the Graveses, they all make up the county, what we call where the county complex is. The
land in the 50s with Dr. Blaisdell, I don't know what your deed shows, but it was sometime in the 50s. And then in 70s, it may have been deeded, but we went to court and the attorney was Shelton Swayze, and he went to court because the county was taking the home. So at some point it was deeded over and they got pennies on the dollar for the farm, but it was taken through eminent domain. I don't know how the records are listed, but I was around back then and I remember that.
Yeah, well, there's nothing but again, there's nothing here at this office that shows that. And there is no recorded 1950 deed from any of the Taylors.
Well,
to the
where did you get the land to build, that you dedicated Dr. Blaisdell?
That I couldn't tell you, because I don't even know how he comes into the equation.
Dr. Blaisdell was a local doctor, and
I know
he
who
was.
he was. I know who he was.
Yeah.
And I can just tell you that the property that Blaisdell Wing sits on is property that's from Sleeper and Mayo. Those deeds that make up that property are Sleeper and Mayo.
I don't have any family records. The farm is gone. It's been gone for 70 years. Not 70. Yeah, well, 70, 50 years. I don't have records because most of the originals who lived on the farm, they're down to 3, and unfortunately 2 of them are dying with cancer at the moment. I know your registry of deeds is not showing, but I know the family history, and I don't know what I can do to prove to you that your records are lacking. I can talk to Councilor Swayze, and he can tell you that he was the attorney of record when you took it by eminent domain.
Ms. Center, if I may here.
Yeah.
I think at this point, so, and I can only speak for myself, but I think at this point, we appreciate your desire to recognize your family. From what we can see, at this point, the only sort of concrete data we have is the evidence through the registry of deeds, which does not support a taking by eminent domain. So at this point, and I'm not inclined to sort of dedicate a plaque without it being substantiated by more than just what your recollection is. And I appreciate it. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's not supported at this time by any data or evidence. So what I would suggest, and I don't know what maybe the other commissioners feel differently, but what I would suggest is you can, if you want to pursue other avenues to get evidence to support that, you assert that there was a case in court. Well, there are court records, the court retains records that you might be able to try to get some of that information, or you have a specific attorney that was involved, he may have filed, that those are things that you can try to acquire. And if you want to come back at any time with additional evidence, we'd obviously always be open to reviewing that. But I'll let my fellow commissioners speak about the issue.
I would just say that I know I talked to Mrs. Senate twice on the phone regarding, and I actually recommended her to call in today. I said, look, no one commissioner can figure this out. I know Kathy's got hours and hours into this paperwork. Some of it dates back to 1897. I'm old, but I wasn't here, so I would love some kind of proof, and if we could get some proof, we would definitely acknowledge the family, but we have to have something. And one thing about Kathy Station, she does her homework. If there was something, Kathy would find it.
And the only other comment that I have is that we have all these records that Kathy was kind enough to do all the research on, and I'd be happy to forward these to you to make so that you can kind of peruse what we have found, and then that might lead you to some other evidence, and we'd be happy to just share with you what it is that we have researched.
Thank you. That was
Okay,
great.
I will be in touch with the attorney who handles the eminent domain, and if he
Perfect.
has information, will that be sufficient?
Well, we'll have to see it.
Evaluate the information. It's hard to say.
Well,
You
all
can
right,
give
I will be in
documentation.
contact with Attorney Swayze.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for
All right,
calling
thank
in.
you for your time.
Care.
Thank you.
Okay. That's all I see for public comment. Thank you. Just an acknowledgement, Kathy, thank you for your research. It was enjoyable. I mean, I nice to review. I know it takes a tremendous amount of time in the back and forth, and I know we talked about this, but we very much appreciate your efforts, and although I think Ms. Center may not have been as satisfied as she wished, your efforts were in part to support what she was asserting. So
Right,
if it had
right.
been substantiated by the records, then you would have been the first to recognize it.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And in reality, if there was a court action and there was a granting, then there should have been something recorded here, and there is not. So, obviously, if Charlton Swayze can come up with something and they can go to the court and find some records, that would be wonderful.
Yeah,
And
then we'll,
oh, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
Anyway, all right, thank you. With that, we're moving right into non-public session, so I'll take a motion to enter into non-public. And do you want to start human resources?
Yes,
Well, the all personnel.
could I do Jude first? Jude and I have something,
Sure.
if that's okay. And then we have,
I'll make a motion to enter into non-public session in the New Hampshire RSA 91-8:3, Roman numeral 2A personnel.
Second,
On the motion, Commissioner Tombrello, Commissioner Godu?
yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
That
Yeah.
case now.
Good evening. It's evening now. It's after 5. We have come out of non-public, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Commissioner Tombrello to make some motions with respect to our non-public sessions.
We had 6 items today in a non-public meeting. I'm gonna make a motion to seal the non-public minutes prepared indefinitely because it's determined that the volumes of this information likely would affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board.
Second,
Any discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, Commissioner Godu?
yes.
Commissioner Tombrello?
Yes.
And I vote yes. If I may take the floor, I'd like to make a motion with respect to some position changes. I make my first motion is to repurpose and regrade the public relations and community outreach manager to the general manager of assisted living as recommended by the senior director of long-term care services and senior director of human resources.
Second,
Any discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, Commissioner Tombrello?
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
yes.
And I vote yes. I make a motion to retitle the executive director assisted living position in compliance officer to the assistant director of long-term care services with grade 25 to remain in both places as recommended by the senior director of long-term care services and senior director of human resources.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope,
On the motion, Commissioner Tombrello?
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
yes.
And I vote yes. And I believe there's just one more motion to make.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. We'll see some of you at the executive committee meeting in short order. Good night, everyone.